Well, first of all, I want to thank Steve for connecting in this evening. He's always got some different ideas on different topics. And so tonight, truly a different idea. And I also want to welcome Jocelyn and anybody else that may be connecting in. Always appreciate connections. We always appreciate dialogue. So, Steve, past international director, please take it away. What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Al. What I wanted to talk about is new member orientation from a different perspective. We all have been the model that we've learned from Lions International and from our multiple and district leaders is a formal setting for new members, whether it be a group of two or a larger group. And we're using PowerPoint slides, many created by Lions International, others handed down from those who've gone before us. And we start to show the organization from a top down, bottom up, either way you want to look at it, orientation, assuming that we know what a new member really wants to know. I don't think we ever stop and ask the new member. Now, I'm Jocelyn. I'm going to digress from time to time and back up and try to connect the dots that have led me to where I am with this presentation. I think when we sponsor new members in a Lions Club, the club and the existing members need to prepare themselves to think a little differently and look at things a little differently. And so, with that in mind, I think that we need to begin to focus on the new members' needs, why they became a lion, what makes them want to be a servant, and try to figure out a way to pique their curiosity and their interest such that they want to be a lion for life. That's my goal for everybody, being a lion for life. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different concepts and a lot of different examples in the time that I'll spend with you this evening. Again, I think that orientation for a new member probably should begin before they ever sign that application. The recruitment process to me is such that I want an individual that I'm inviting to join a Lions Club to feel comfortable from the outset, to feel very uh, motivated from the very outset, and feel that she or he are amongst friends or in a safe place from the very outset. So that takes some getting to know your own members first, those that you currently serve with. Extend an invitation to a new member, and then everybody help that new member grow. One neat thing that I witnessed from a club in my own district several years ago, almost a brand new club. And when they started off, they took the current membership application from Lions International and they added a little section to it which says, list your top three interests or passions in this world to a prospective member. They asked that up front. Now, to me, they were already looking at where is this person going to fit? How are we going to make them comfortable? And how are we going to allow them to grow? That club was organized in 2016, and that club has grown greatly and has some real involved members, now has a zone chair from that club, etc. And eventually we'll have a district governor from that club. And I think that because that's the approach they took, that has helped them all grow. Now, I've developed some questions that I would ask a new member. What do you what do you expect I'm being the new member now. I'm doing the role playing. If I came into your club, what do you expect of me as a new lion? I know, I know you've told me about Helen Keller and you've told me about Melvin Jones and you've told me about a whole lot of things, but it doesn't mean anything to me yet. What is expected of me as a new member? And I recently, very recently, did cabinet orientation for the district that I'm part of. And I said there are four S's that we need to focus on as a cabinet. And the same applies to a new member. I'd like you to show up as a new member, show up as much as you can, show up at service projects, show up at club activities to the extent you can, and be willing to accept responsibilities by stepping up when you're asked. And then service. That's obviously what we're all about. And I'd like you to be willing to share. What do I mean by that? Let us know what your passions are. Going back to the club members, when we have a new person, let's call her Jocelyn, and she's very passionate about involving people, especially those from the Chinese community, she can provide a tremendous service by helping with translation issues, by helping with cultural issues between an existing club. Let's find out what her passions are and cultivate those passions, and she's going to get more excited about her service. So, the first of all, I think instead of going in immediately and having refreshments and having a nice, we're going to have a new member orientation here. That's all well and good. But I think we ought to cultivate people on an individual basis by finding out what makes them tick. Why did they want to become a lion? Look at the number of global service causes that we have now, and those just didn't fall out of thin air. Some lions suggested that maybe mental health is an issue, maybe childhood cancer is an issue, maybe diabetes awareness that leads to blindness is something we need to be focusing on. How did we know that if we didn't ask you what your passion was and how do you want to serve? So, showing up, stepping up, serving, and sharing. Sharing in the sense that you let the club members know what issues that you would like to explore. You share this passion with other prospective new members. And I'll drill down a little bit further on these ideas. But the concept being, let's be member focused rather than organizational focused. Because it's a new lion. I don't care who the president is yet. I don't care that there's 34 international directors yet on the board. I don't care that we have 8 constitutional areas. What I want to know about is, where do I fit in? What are the expectations of me? Do I have a voice in this club? Well, are you going to listen to me? Or are you going to treat me as a inanimate object out there? Do Are you going to lead me to being comfortable and making me feel part of the organization? If you are, then I'm going to stay. If you want me to sit and listen while you discuss what the various acronyms are in Lionism, I'm not apt to want to be a part of that club. So, another little tidbit that I have consciously developed for myself is, I don't care whether I'm amongst past international directors at a convocation or I'm at a Council of Governors meeting. I refuse to use an acronym. I am going to say Lions Clubs International Foundation. as opposed to LCIF. I'm going to say past international director rather than PID. So, moving away from acronyms for newer lines in your club, I think is a move in the right direction. And again, going back and emphasizing, why did Lion L want to join our club? Obviously, he wanted to do community service. What type of community service does he want to do? Let's ask him. Let's not assume that site conservation is his biggest passion. It may be, but there also may be other passions that we can help him develop as he moves along. I have a colleague that's served with me, very strong background in leadership, and he wrote a little treatise on leadership and especially about meetings because he's strong in parliamentary procedure. He believes, and I believe, that every meeting at every level, Lions Club to the International Board, ought to have a learning component. So when we're having a meeting, I think it's very important for the education of newer members that there be some learning component that they can walk away with. Aha, I learned something new here. I have a club that's very close to me, a sister club, that for the past at least 3 years, every time they have a meeting, they have had a person designated to tell some success story about Lions Clubs International Foundation or things that are happening across the globe or things that are happening in West Virginia. It's been very effective. It was a continual orientation without members even knowing it was an orientation. But to have some educational component of every meeting, I believe is very, very important. Staying away from the acronyms, stressing those 4 S's. Everybody is not going to have the same 24-hour day. Single mothers raising their children are going to have a different 24-hour day than a retiree such as I. So we have to understand that when people are there, they're there to serve and they're there to learn something more about the organization. Another thought that I have is a wonderful way to do orientation with new members is to encourage them to do a visit with you, whether it's to another club, whether it's to a zone meeting, preferably a zone social, preferably zone training of some kind, because you have an opportunity going and coming to talk with that lion about, hey, are we meeting your needs? Are we the kind of service organization that you expected that you'd be part of? Are there any things that we could improve on? So you've got that opportunity to talk with them one on one, and you've got that opportunity to let them see another club in action. What really happens at a zone meeting? It's better to let them see what happens at a zone meeting than to sit down and say, now, the reason we have a zone meeting is we're going to have these clubs together. Let them see it for themselves. Let them feel it for themselves. So in that respect, orientation is always ongoing. Again, focusing on the newer member, I think it's more important for them to understand how the club is functioning. Why do we do certain projects? What has made them successful? And stress service, service, service. Now, at the risk of being committing heresy, I believe that we're pounding service to death at the 30,000 foot level, that we're stressing the way we're going to build membership is through service. I believe that. But I think a new member, if they're doing service and they're understanding why we're doing this project in the community, that they feel better about it and they understand that their voice could be heard because, aha, while we're doing this, I see another need and I see another need. Could I lead this project? There's the stepping up. There's the serving. By doing, I think we're really helping the member a lot more than by saying we need to do service. Service is the basis of what we do. Do the service. Let them see it. Let them feel it, and quit talking so much about it. That's my editorial $5 worth. So that brings us to, I think members have to understand what the moral obligations of membership is. Anytime I have an opportunity to find some information that I think will really strike at the heart of why you became a member, why you stay a member, I think you want to be part of a team. Every person who joins a Lions Club has had, will have, and has done individual service on their own. Each of us right here tonight, we've met a need for somebody that we could meet without being in a Lions Club. But the benefit of being in a Lions Club, strength in the herd, strength in unity. As a team, we can do so much more. Helen Keller said it a long time ago. We can be team leaders. Being team leaders helps us to become leaders. Leading to serve, serving to lead. We are servants. I stress listening when I'm doing orientation now. I encourage people listen, to understand and question. You should question the status quo. You should ask why, for a half hour of my valuable time or 45 minutes of my valuable time, what are we going to accomplish? When we go do this service project, are we going to do it efficiently? And we're going to get people served. And I'm all about that, because let's finish that one and let's go do another one the next day. I'm excited about that. We need to be collaborators. When we sponsor a new member or we're mentors for a new member, again, tying in everything I'm trying to say is need to fill that 180 feedback loop to make sure people are understanding the role and feeling comfortable. Along with that, Lions International has developed a list of core values, which each of us, no matter what our title is, our office is, who we are, we each have to live up to some basic values with one another. One, a commitment to service. That is the first one. Newer members need to understand when you're coming on board, we need you because we want you to commit to service. And we'll make a commitment to you that we'll hear your voice and we'll support you the best we can. And perhaps you have an idea that's going to be part of a worldwide effort. That's where the youth exchange program was built. That's where the Leo program was built. The concept and thought of one, two, three individuals. We have so many programs now that are global causes that were born of somebody stepping out in confidence and faith to provide an idea to a club or a district, which grew into an international service. We're dedicated to excellence. We appreciate diversity. We need to have a lot of work done on this area. This is one of those things that might be a topic for a 30-second blip at each and every meeting or cabinet meeting about the appreciation for diversity, not just in those things that we traditionally think of diversity, gender, culture, race, sex, age, etc., but an appreciation for different attitudes expressed different ways. Dynamic collaboration. Together we can achieve more than if we sit in silos. Personal and professional integrity. And sometimes people forget this important core value. By that, I mean the subtle forgetfulness, like if we make a decision on something, the entire group needs to know about it, just not Al and me. We forget to share. We forget to bring people into the loop. Use that sign of a line of sight communication and a spirit of innovation. Here again, I'd want to do my best to make a new member feel that you have a voice. You need to question the status quo in a positive way. We need to collaborate with you. And as the leaders, we need to be able to answer questions. If somebody says, why do you do that? It's okay to say, I have no idea. You've pointed out something, a very good question to us. I have no idea why we do the Pledge of Allegiance before the prayer. I don't know where that came from. Somebody's choice once upon a time. I don't know why we do a lion's roar. Somebody liked it once upon a time. I don't even know why we wear pins, except we have learned, and I think correctly, that wearing a pin is a sign of your proud heritage and the fact that you're proud to serve with a team. But I don't know where the concept of pin developed. And it's okay if you're a dedicated line if you don't want to wear the pin. Don't find them, tail twister. So, those things, a couple takeaways that I see is focus on the individual, not the organization. If you get the individual enjoying what they're doing and you're encouraging them to invite others, there's strength in the herd. We grow. We get to 1.5 a heck of a lot faster than killing them with PowerPoints. My personal opinion. If we can get them to go beyond the club level and start to feel comfortable with, oh, I know that lion. I met her at another club meeting, or I met her at a zone meeting, or even better yet, a sister club is having a tremendous service project. Let's go see how they do it. Let's go collaborate a little bit. Maybe we get an idea, or maybe I get the confidence to share what I did in another world and what I did in another organization. I strive to do this all the time now. It's not always successful, but when I can influence the agenda, I'm asking those who are leading the meeting, tell us why we're here today. and tell us how it's going to lead to better service in our organization. And tell me what I'm going to come away with. Do that up front. Now you've piqued my curiosity, and I will sit up on the straighten my seat and lean forward and try to hear what's being said and try to learn. I try to utilize that practice for newer members. I found myself at a meeting last night and last week and the week before that visiting clubs. But I took the time to be able to explain to some people there this is what we're attempting to do. And this is, here's another way that really can help you. We need to be, that's orientation. That's the purest form of orientation. I don't advocate at all that if your club has a program where when we have 3 or 4 new members together, some seasoned lion sits down and does some on hands orientation for people. That's great. But I'd like to see them or would advocate to blend in a few of the thoughts that I'm talking about within that orientation so that they're not looking at a bland org chart and tried to figure out the difference between a zone chairperson and a region chairperson and a council chairperson and a district governor, etc. I hope I'm making sense. I am working on it's not in its final form, but I'm working on trying to do a presentation which pulls all these thoughts together and that I can share with people. And it may be in a PowerPoint format, it simply might be in an outline format. I would prefer to have it in an outline format so that the user can tweak it to their liking. They might want to talk about point 5 before my point 2, or they, etc. If you follow me. So that's it in a nutshell. Now there aren't a whole lot more tidbits I can throw in there, except the concept of a club having a couple minutes, no more than 3 minutes, of some topic of interest for the members on an ongoing basis, like the club I referred to. I think that's very important. And I think mentoring in orientation is very important, whether it's through the sponsor or whether it's through an interested lion that takes 1 or 2 people aside and explains things. Stay away from, the acronyms that people don't understand and try to explain the basics as we go along. It's still the most important question to me in new member orientation is, what do you want to get out of this service? How do you want to serve? We may have an individual who isn't a ticket seller when it comes to fundraising, but that person may be a dynamo when it comes to checking on who needs what within our club, calling, sending the get well notes, visiting, etc. That's service in its purest sense in a Lions Club. Questions, comments, discussion. It's time that we have some discussion.
I understand the idea of challenging the status quo. And in my experience, the opportunity to visit other clubs and steal some of their ideas has been a big favorite of mine. And when I first joined the Lions Club, it was a big deal. Our club, our zone, there was a lot of visitations between the different clubs. It was considered to be important for a variety of reasons. And at least for our district, that's largely fallen by the wayside. How can we get clubs interested in visiting again?
I have had a very similar experience in this district and multiple district I'm in now. Once upon a time, it was a very, very important thing. What I can do individually is something I've already commenced doing. As this past year was winding down, Cindy and I talked about, I want to free myself of responsibility so that I can go back and reconnect with some of the clubs that I used to be very in tune with. So I'm going to set my question is by personal example.
Uh,
You do it, find another couple who are willing to do it, and by osmosis, over time, we'll get back to that. We used to have district governors that would have the district contests, and that incented people to visit. But there is a more important overarching reason to visit, and that is I am finding in the three visitations I've referred to in the past week and a half, clubs are crying out for a little attention. They want to see people. I've been able to answer questions for them and help them along. So, how do we change it? By personal example and a commitment to doing it. And then again, the one on one and the one on twos. Hey, would you like to start doing some club visitations again? Put a bug in the district governor's ear. Hey, why don't you have a some type of contest that be not grand, doesn't have to be grandiose with trophies, but incent some clubs. And hey, if you visit all the clubs in your zone this year, you get special recognition, certificates, something like that. Many people want to be incented to do it. I want to do it because it's the right thing to do because I'm committed to excellence. And I think that, I got an appreciation for diversity, and I knew that I was going to find some clubs that were struggling along and needed some help. So that's what I've begun to do.
very good, very good. Jocelyn, what are your thoughts?
I have a question. Is like the what you're talking about the new member orientation is before they become a member? Did you say that?
No, the orientation that we are accustomed to thinking about is after they become a member. But to me, I'm thinking about sitting down with a prospective new member. Let's say the members filled out the application, or you're thinking about them. Just kind of get a feel for what passions they have. What do they uh, really want to do? What kind of projects would they like to do in a Lions Club? Find those things out ahead of time, and then start talking with your club members about we have an individual coming in who really is very strong on Miracle League baseball or Challenger baseball. She has a she has a child who's with some disabilities. Could we support something like that and find that out about the member? So orientation in the sense that I'm trying to find out as much about you before I bring you into this Lions Club so that I know how to make it you feel more comfortable when you do become a member and you get to feel more comfortable about expressing your thoughts and your attitudes. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because right now the orientation is like, just like what you mentioned. We talk about the structure, like international district,
Yeah,
cup level, but they have no clue what is, yeah, the international president, right? So
nor when you first join a Lions Club, you don't care what the international president. In time, when you feel comfortable and you're learning, then you understand. It makes sense to me now. I use myself as a personal example. I was sponsored in a club 44 years ago by a very, very good sponsor, and I had several good mentors. But it took me the better part of a year to figure out what's the difference between Lions Clubs International and Lions Clubs International Foundation. And so by asking questions and going with them to zone meetings and cabinet meetings. One day the light bulb went off. Oh, now I understand. They're not the same entity, they're a different entity. Simply because they would take me along and they would answer questions, and finally I got it. That's just one small example. But you understand my point. As a newer member, if I sit down to recruit a member, they don't care whether there's 1.4 million members worldwide, and they don't care if Lionism is in 210 countries. What they'd really like to know about is, am I going to fit in this group? Am I going to be able to have a voice? Am I going to feel comfortable? How quickly am I going to get to know members in our club? Start there.
Yeah.
Here, here.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Good thoughts, good ideas, good ideas. Just other thoughts or ideas. I'm asking the question of Jocelyn out of pure ignorance because I don't know these things. But when it comes to new member orientation and bringing a new member into a club, and finding out what their preferences and goals are and so forth, I understand this process from an American culture. Is it different with Chinese culture?
Okay. So maybe I tell you how I become a alliance. I
Sure.
really, okay, I was on my lowest point of my life, right? So, and my friend said, "Oh, come and join us. Let's have fun and fellowship." I have no clue what's an alliance. I never heard of alliance. Yeah. So we have dinner and celebrating other people's birthday, just talking, chatting, we have a fun time. And then next time we go for a meeting, we eating and meeting, but I still don't understand. But until you really get into what you're doing, then you feel a bit of sense of belongings, right? So one day I was doing like they have this Chinatown cleanup. So I went there, we do a just pick up the garbage, a secret, but I feel good because I'm a Chinese and I'm in a Chinatown. I feel good that, oh, I could do something for the Chinese community. That's made me proud.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. All right.
Wonderful. That sort of brings all the points I was trying to make, Jocelyn. That sort of brings it all together. That's a perfect illustration of you showed up, you stepped up to do a project, you shared the social outlet that you were in, and all those things. That's a perfect example.
But sometimes we learn and develop your interest when you going through all this process. So yeah, so
Yes, absolutely. And that's going to make you a lion for life. And that's going to lead you to offer this opportunity to other people. That's how we get to 1.5.
yeah.
So let me turn it back to you, Steve. When you joined the Lions Club, your local Lions Club, did you join your local Lions Club because you wanted to help your community, or was it more of a social reason, a bunch of guys getting together for a lunch or a dinner and cracking jokes and having a good time, or which one was it?
A little combination of all of it, Al.
Yeah.
More the social part, though. I tell you how it happened to me. I knew nothing about the core principles of Lionism. My sponsor's daughter worked with Cindy, my wife. And Cindy came home one day and she said, Bill, Becky's father, said he wants us to come over his house and he wants to talk to you about something. So we said he wants to talk to you about maybe becoming a member of the Clarksburg Lions Club. I said, I'll go and listen to him. So I went over and we had a nice time and he talked a lot about the projects that he'd been involved in and the people that he knew and it helped. And I thought, oh no, I see myself being a servant. I could do that. They met at a local hotel. He said, come with me to a meeting and see if see if it's something you might be interested in. Well, they were having a heck of a good time on Friday for 1 hour. And what was very important was at the time, this was a group, still a group of downtown businessmen. And they started at noon and they quit at 10 till 1 and everybody got back to work. They kept it like that. And that appealed to me. And then I just took off from there. So seeing the people and having a meal and having the fun, that kept me in there. But I started to do project right off the bat with them. And the more projects I do, the deeper I got. So that's what brought me, that's my experience. In addition to my sponsor, Bill, would talk to me frequently about if something happened at a board meeting, he would fill in the details to educate me as to why this idea wasn't so popular and this one might be, this one was, etc. He told me about the personality differences that I would see happen. He kept me informed. And then I had a couple or three other good mentors that said, let me boil it down this way. I joined the Clarksburg Lions Club on June 6th, 1981, and he had me going to a cabinet meeting on August 3rd. Now I'm a brand new Lion, and Bill has me going to a cabinet meeting. So they're throwing around these terms. At that time, they're throwing around deputy district governor and region chairperson and zone chairperson. And I'm like, maybe I'll learn this someday. But he just immersed me. So I didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm glad he did.
Well, yeah, that's a
I hope that
responsibility of a
answers-
good sponsor. Yeah.
I hope that answers the question.
Yep. Jocelyn,
Mhm.
other thoughts or questions?
I find that, like, say, even though the new members into your club now they become member, so how to make them excited, during the meeting? Because sometimes our meeting is so boring, right? All these report and things. How to make them excited,
I was also blessed early on, Jocelyn, in my experience. We've lost the fun aspect of tail twisting too.
Yeah.
We have lost to a large degree greeters in clubs. In the club that I joined, there was always an older Lion there. That was back in the days when we wore the pie plates for names, one of those dated. He was always there to shake your hand and say hello and pin that pie plate on you. And the tail twister would start with gags and gimmicks. And we spent half hour laughing and carrying on. It looked like an uproarious party. And then we got down to serious business. So many, you're right, Jocelyn, so many club leaders are learning what I call the boring side of club. We're teaching them to follow this agenda. Yes, but we're on the agendas that say service time or fun time. So many clubs don't use a tail twister except to set a basket down and say, now, if you want to donate, donate. We actually had tail twisters that they would pull pranks. And I look for at that time, the club I joined met every Friday at noon at a local hotel. I look forward to that hour on Friday, as did many of them. It was relief for some people from the stress of work. And we congregated there. We've gotten away from some of those traditions, the visiting of clubs, the effective use of a tail twister, or anybody to promote fun. Anybody, whether they're tail twister or not. It's just kind of a rote thing. And then the president is busy going through an agenda and there's no learning component to a meeting.
Yeah, it just happened that this year I'm the tail twister. So whether I could do something.
Stir them up. I'll give you an example of when I tail twisted long ago, and I don't want to get into talking about when, but I decided our club picnic was coming up, and I decided to sell chances at 25 cents a piece to the members to hit me in the face with a pie of their choice. Now that stirred up a lot of excitement.
Wow.
And I did not take shaving cream. I took a coconut cream pie in the face. 2 weeks after that, I could still smell coconut in my nostrils, but I did it. We had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Glad it wasn't a cherry pie. Anyway, you don't have to be that bizarre, but people want to have some fun and laugh together and learn together and grow together.
Yeah.
That's what orientation is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very true.
Yeah.
I don't have any further questions. Jocelyn, anything further from you?
So also one more question. So in
Yeah.
in a cup setting, we have different like title, right? So if somebody no title, they'll feel, oh, I'm nobody.
Oh,
And then
Exactly.
and then the other is really on top of, you know. So
now,
how to make them fit in that, oh, change the thinking. Okay, you're not just a lion, nobody. You either like they have other like PDG, PID, whatever, even though in a cup we all lions, right?
Exactly. Here's my thought on that,
Mhm.
Jocelyn. I don't wear a name badge much anymore, especially one that says past international director.
Mhm.
I just want to be Lion Steve. At a meeting last night, the president started to say, I don't know, you've had so many titles, I don't know how to address you. I said, I am a lion. Again, part of that orientation is don't even talk about titles unless a new lion says, well, that person has zone chair on her badge. What does that really mean? Just explain it in the sense that that is a responsibility of the cabinet, and that designates that person's responsibility. You're exactly right. We don't need titles. We do not. We're all lions when we're serving together.
Yeah.
Unless you are a life member of this organization, your card looks the same as the international president or the or an international director. You have the same membership card. That's the way I like to explain it. Don't talk about titles
Mm.
unless someone asks you,
Yeah.
why does that name badge look different than mine?
Yeah. Yeah,
yep.
because sometimes I bump into people just like you. I'll say, okay, P, like I forgot P what, like PID or PCC or P. I don't know what to say, right?
And that is a turnoff too.
Yeah.
A newer person in the organization.
Yeah.
They might not express it as a turnoff, but the subtle implication is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Every organization has its hierarchy structure. Everybody within the organization holds a different position. And for some folks, that title is important to them. And for other folks, it's less important. And I take the same attitude as Steve. I'm here not because I'm a past council chair and I'm here to tell you what to do or anything like that. I'm here to learn. I'm here to listen. I'm here to steal some ideas that you might have. But nonetheless, I receive correspondence, I receive phone calls from different lines, and some absolutely will address me as past council chair, and others will address me as Al.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just never know. So I've developed the response of let them address me how they want to address me, and we'll carry on our business.
I agree. And I would add, Jocelyn, I just I get in the habit of trying to lead by example. I purposely don't use district governor and now unless I'm specifically referring to Greg as in an introduction. When he calls me, I call him Greg. He starts to want to call me PID Steve. And I said, Please make it Steve. We individually have to take the lead in
Yeah.
changing the culture. We can't preach it. We have to show it. We
Yeah.
have to do it, and others catch on.
Yep.
That's
Sure,
a
sure.
good one. Because like if I say Steve, you may not be feeling you're respected, right? Because you're PID Steve, right? But unless you now say just call me Steve, so make us feel comfortable.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Let it be known. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent discussion here this evening. Jocelyn, what else is on your mind?
Nothing. Yeah.
No? Okay.
Thanks for joining us. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I want to
always
go ahead.
one thing I learned from a minister probably within the last couple of years. People in our organization, people get really concerned about who isn't here, about how large the attendance is. And I feel like Pastor Rick, when we're together, what is important is who is here, not who isn't. We're the ambassadors to take it back to other people. I can take back a lot that I've learned from you tonight, Jocelyn, and always from Al. And your name won't come up, but your words or your thoughts may come up in future conversations with me about the value of diversity, the value of different ways to serve, and the concerns that a newer line is having. So,
Yeah.
who is here is important, not who isn't.
Yep. Very true. Very true.
That actually is the same as like people, they wouldn't say, oh, you do what you did is great, but they always do the other way. You didn't do this great, Same
Yeah.
idea. Yeah, they focus on the bad one, right?
Focus on being a critic. Yep.
Yeah.
I hear you.
We see that too much today. We really do. Wow. Well, Steve, once again, I want to thank you for your time and your thoughts, your ideas. I think they're very valuable, and we really need to take a lot of this to heart. I hope that we get some good views on YouTube as well, because we really need to spread this word. We really need to make people aware of the new member and what they need to know, what they need to see, how they need to participate. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you,
Jocelyn, it's
Jocelyn.
good to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jocelyn, for your time tonight. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. For those of you watching this on YouTube, please spread the word. We've got a good discussion here with Steve Glass, not Past International, Steve Glass. And a lot of people need to see this. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Bye now.
Good night.
Bye.